Good morning, everybody. Woke up to some pretty big news today. As a Red Wings fan, I can't say I'm surprised by this after seeing the Filip Hronek trade yesterday. We actually have a handful of trades to break down in this video, but let's start out with the big one. The Boston Bruins have acquired winger Tyler Bertuzzi from the Detroit Red Wings in exchange for a top 10 protected 2024 first-round pick and a 2024 fourth-round pick. You may be wondering how Boston was able to do this given their current cap situation. Well, the Red Wings retained 50% of Bertuzzi's cap hit, and Boston also just placed Taylor Hall on the LTIR, so that gave them more than enough space to make this deal work. And you have to imagine that Taylor Hall going on LTIR is what prompted Boston to go out and make a move like this and acquire a top 6 winger in Bertuzzi. So what are the Boston Bruins getting in Tyler Bertuzzi? He is a 28-year-old winger, a UFA at season's end, and he's a legit top 6 forward. Bertuzzi scored 30 goals with the Red Wings last season in just 68 games. Obviously, his production has came down a lot this season, just 14 in 29 games, but a large part of that is due to the fact that he suffered 2 different broken hands this season. Bertuzzi is somebody who can really thrive in any style of game, whether it's a fast-paced, high-skilled game, or when the game slows down, things get chippy. He's yet to play a single playoff game in his NHL career up until this point, but based off of his play style, I think he's going to do just fine in the postseason. In my opinion, Tyler Bertuzzi is really the perfect Boston Bruin. I hate that I like this move for Boston so much. Some Red Wings fans even called Tyler Bertuzzi Brad Marchand light because he's a skill guy, he puts up offensive numbers, but he's also one of the league's biggest pests. Having to play against Brad Marchand and Tyler Bertuzzi on the same team in a 7-game playoff series is not going to be fun. I think this is a huge addition for the Boston Bruins. I don't think they gave up too much to acquire him either. Bruins fans, you're absolutely going to love this player. So now let's talk a little bit about this deal from the point of view of the Red Wings. As a Red Wings fan, I didn't really know how to feel about the Filip Hronek trade. It was just a really out of nowhere, kind of confusing deal given where the Red Wings are at this point in their rebuild. However, this trade, in my opinion, definitely makes a lot more sense. Bertuzzi's 28 years old. He's a UFA at season's end. He's already gone through multiple difficult contract negotiations with Steve Yzerman in the past. If the Red Wings held on to Tyler Bertuzzi and let him walk to free agency, I could have 100% seen a scenario where he just left and the Red Wings got nothing for him in return. It definitely sucks for Red Wings fans because we got a taste of winning for that couple weeks stretch after the All-Star break. There was a point where the Red Wings were in a wild card spot. News came out that Tyler Bertuzzi was off the trade market amidst Detroit's playoff push, and then they lost 3 in a row, had 2 of probably their worst games of the season against the Ottawa Senators back-to-back in a must-win 2-game series. You have to imagine that is what prompted Steve Yzerman to go ahead and sell at the deadline. I am happy with this return. I think getting a first-round pick for Tyler Bertuzzi in a down year is pretty good value. If you were to tell me 2 months ago that the Red Wings would have been able to get a first for Tyler Bertuzzi at the deadline, I would have been pretty surprised. All in all, this is a trade that definitely makes sense for both teams given where each team is at, the plan that Steve Yzerman has in place. I really do believe the Bruins are going to love Bertuzzi and he's really going to thrive there. I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see them find a way to get him extended after this season. So those are my thoughts on the Tyler Bertuzzi trade. Let's now shift focus and cover a couple of smaller deals that took place in between the last trade breakdown video. This one had the Vegas Golden Knights acquiring centerman Teddy Blueger from the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for a prospect and a 2024 third-round draft pick. Really minor move here. This trade was Pittsburgh clearing cap space to make an additional move, which we'll cover in a couple of minutes. And for Vegas, you get a good fourth-line all-defense centerman, reliable shutdown guy, not going to give you much of anything offensively. This was a cap dump for the Penguins, and Vegas adding a little bit of depth down the middle. Not really too much to break down when it comes to this trade. Moving on now to the next trade, this one between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the San Jose Sharks that had the Sharks acquiring Vladislav Namestnikov. Tampa Bay is retaining 50% of his $2.5 million cap hit in exchange for Mikey Eyssimont. This is actually a sneaky good deal for the Lightning. In my opinion, you get the younger, cheaper player in Eyssimont who's had a really good stint with the Sharks this season, 8 points in 20 games, so a little under half point per game. Analytical darling, his analytics are through the roof. After acquiring Tanner Jeannot, the Lightning do have a little bit of a logjam in their bottom 6, but I could definitely see a scenario if Mikey Eyssimont gets an opportunity to play, he sticks in the Lightning lineup and becomes a really useful player for them. A little bit confused as to what San Jose is thinking by making this trade. The only logical explanation is they're going to look to flip Vladislav Namestnikov for like a mid-round draft pick or something before tomorrow's deadline, with Tampa Bay retaining 50%. San Jose could retain 50% if they decide to flip him, which would make Nemesnikov like a below league min player, so that could make him a valuable asset. Moving on now to the final trade we're going to cover in this video. The Pittsburgh Penguins have acquired Mikael Granlund from the Nashville Predators in exchange for a 2023 second round draft pick. Granlund, a 31-year-old forward, can play center or the wing, has a cap hit of $5 million and is signed through 2024-25, so Pittsburgh gets a guy with a bit of term here. Granlund hasn't had the greatest season in Nashville at this point in his career. He really does struggle to finish. Still a solid playmaker. This is a guy who had 53 assists last season. I feel like if you're the Penguins, you're really banking on Mikael Granlund getting back to that level. I'm curious to see if the Penguins decide to play him at center or wing. I feel like a lot of Penguins fans this season have been complaining about the job Jeff Carter has done as the number 3 center, so could you shift him down to 4th line center and have Granlund fill that 3C spot? It's not like the Penguins gave up a ton in this trade with it just being a second round draft pick, but I would say it is definitely a little bit of a risk given Granlund's age and his contract. And for the Nashville Predators, I've absolutely loved what they have done over the past couple of weeks. I've been saying for a long time now that it's time to maybe not even completely tear it down, but at the very least go through a hard retool. And after being a team that was just stuck in the middle for many years now, it seems like they finally have some direction, and I think they've done a really good job of stockpiling future assets again over the past couple of weeks. Getting out from under this Granlund contract, not having to retain any money, and getting a second round pick, I would say Nashville did pretty well here. So that is going to wrap up this video. Those are my thoughts on all of the trades that took place between the last time I talked to you guys and broke down trades and now. As always, I want to know your guys' thoughts, especially on the Detroit-Boston trade. If you're a fan of either team involved, get down there in the comments down below. Let me know how you're feeling right now. If you guys enjoyed this video and you're excited for tomorrow's trade deadline, be sure to leave this video a like. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.